Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Ewan and this is Eye of Gnosis Tarot. Today we are looking at the Seven of Wands as we carry on in our Thoth Tarot series. Now if you have not seen the previous videos, I recommend you go back and have a watch of those to give more context to this card, especially when it comes to the Minor Arcana. There is a lot of sequencing involved. And if you watch the previous numbers, then you'll understand why this number is significant and how it is significant. If you're here just to watch the Divinatory Interpretations, there is a timestamp down there in the description, but please do watch the description of the card and its symbolism at least once to give your readings a bit more context, because knowing the textbook definition of card is not always giving you the full picture of what's going on with this. So, for example, this card says it is Valour, but what does that actually mean? Why is the Seven of Wands Valour? And now we're going to find out why. So here we see in the Seven of Wands that the six wands of the Order of the Golden Dawn, they are still there, and they're in exactly the same position. Although their hue has darkened slightly, and the flying disc on the cartouche at the top has become red. And we see that this redness here, the darkened aspect of the wands, is a hint towards Mars here, which is the astrological symbol for Mars, which has now entered Leo. So we're still in Leo. The soothing violet of the previous card has now become this dark indigo. And we see a great volcanic club here in the centre, which is dominating the card. And it's causing the other six wands to spark violently. So the 9 flames we saw in the previous card have now become these violent sparks. Seven is both a divine and disrupting number. This is because 7 represents introspective transformation, which is a deeply significant process, whether it be in a physical, psychological, or metaphysical sense. When we overthrow stagnation in our environment, we may feel at peace for a while and balanced, just as we did in the Six of Wands. So what's described there is the transition from 4, 5, and 6. And of course, please go back and look at those previous videos to understand what I am talking about. So, here in 6 we may have a stable income and a secure home, yet we can still suffer from internal strife, or the habits that hold us back from expanding further. 7 is invoked to bring about this need for deep change. Yet inner transformation is not simple, for the very things we wish to topple are also those that support our identity. Thus 7 is a choice. It is an imitation of Geberar's revolution, yet even less stable than that we found in 5. It is one thing to overthrow an external tyrant, but it is quite another to overthrow your own concept of self. 7 is Valour, because neither side will give up this fight. 6 will not give up the defence of its domain, and 7 will not submit because its existence relies on this rebellion success. Another victory is needed, and this is known as Netzach, the 7th Sephirah, a concept ironically conceived by Tippereth. Outer stability has now become an opportunity for inner transformation, and existence takes a deep breath as it plunges into the shadow of introspection. Parallels to this process can be seen across various traditions. 7 is the divine intervention in Abrahamic faiths, and attributed to both virtues and sins. So we have the 7 deadly sins and the 7 virtues. In Vedic traditions, we see this as there being 7 main central chakras. Of course, you've got lots of little chakras, but the 7 main ones running up your spinal column, and these lead to enlightenment. However, an imbalance of any one of them can, of course, keep you stuck in Maya. In Buddhism, it is said that the Buddha walked 7 steps at birth, symbolising the beginning of his destiny. And in Islam, we see that there are 7 heavens described in the Quran, and there are 7 verses in the first book of the Quran, evoking the same concept of spiritual awakening. Geometrically, 7 is simply the observation of 6's equilibrium. It is God observing God, and thus expands itself again to look at its creation. And we see this in the book of Genesis, as God rests on the 7th day. A little bit of symbolism here then for the 7 of Wands. So the 7 of Wands shares a passing resemblance to the 6 of Wands. The Adept's Wands remain in place. However, the influence of Mars has cast a crimson aspect on the Chief Adept's Wands, as we said at the beginning. Leo represents a matured form of fire. It is the captain or king to Aries' warrior or prince. However, with Mars here, it is as if the king or the captain has had to call upon his bloodiest champion to fight the battle created by 7's instability. It's a necessary evil, so to speak. This is not the ordered combat of the 5 of Wands, but it's a bitter struggle. The battle has deteriorated into a one-on-one fight, where each warrior is simply seeking to survive regardless of orders. This raucousness is represented by the brutal club here, presenting itself as the 7th wand in the card. The club is the first weapon to hand, and wielded without subtlety or skill. It just gets the job done, essentially. In this respect, we must take no prisoners in this fight, and we must fight for our lives when battling any demons perpetuated by an ill-dignified 6. So when 6 does become an ill-dignified, which is rare, in other words, we have a harmony of negativity, we call upon 7 to make a change. Yet this is not a brute's fight, even if the club's work is brutal. It is still a worthy cause to fight for one's life, and the future prosperity of our lives may depend on this victory. In the 6 of Wands we saw this prosperity hinted towards, and it is found in those 9 flames that we saw issuing from the crossed wands. 6 is self-sustaining and harmonious, creating prosperity, but if change needs to happen, then 7 will support that prosperity, but now with a vigorous energy. Hence the calm flames have now become these sparks. They are eager for battle, so to speak, and for it to run its course, and for the victor to restore peace in the end. So now we're just going to have a look at the divinatory interpretations of the card. The energy in the 7 of Wands is directed towards overcoming opposition. This is not overcoming 6 per se, but rather the opposition to the idea of 7. So we're opposing any concept that 7 can't exist. Because it just simply must. If the 6 of Wands is a settled victory for the kingdom, then the 7 of Wands is the struggle to attain a lasting victory for the individual. It is unstable, but a valorous effort nonetheless. When well dignified, the card represents courage, honour, initiation, and rebirth. When ill-dignified, the card can represent hardship, burdens, unnecessary wounds, or vain glory. The key concept is courage in valour, and having something worth fighting for. So that has been the 7 of Wands. And just a little note here, if you look in the description, and also on the main page of the channel, you will see a link to Spotify, and I just want to point you towards that because on my Instagram account, which is also linked below, when I post the descriptions for each of these cards, I also do an appropriate piece of music which really gets the vibe across of the card. And on Spotify I've put a playlist together with all those songs that can be attributed to the tarot. And there are a few at the bottom which are kind of just mixed in because I haven't decided where to put them. So I hope you enjoy looking at that, listening through. There's some classic hits on there. And I hope to see you next time in the next video. And if you enjoyed what you saw today, please hit that like button and the subscribe button below if you want to see more content. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss anything. And I wish you all the best wherever you are across the world, no matter what time it may be. And I hope that peace is upon you all as we leave this video. Goodbye.